Hey, we started this video before we planned anything. We usually just invite you into our conversation anyways. But just wanted to say we are Rami and Monica, my beautiful wife, and we are Original Intent Life Coaching. So what we do is we help Christians heal their hearts and relationships so they can thrive in what God's called them to. I would like for you to get your pens and paper out. No, I'm just joking. But you can copy below, like things that hop out, things that really jump out at you, and tell me where you're from, who you are, what your name is. We'd love to hear where you're from and who you are. And as we go, just feel free to even jump on a PM. Send us a personal message if you'd rather do that. We're going to put our link below to our Eden Intensive, the place where we mentor Christians.
It's our signature group coaching program. So in it, we're going to talk a little bit here about just the process of healing relationship, but we actually go into a whole section on healing relationships with others in our process, and not only that, but also healing relationship with God and healing relationship with ourselves. And it's really powerful 6 months for you to honestly transform the way you relate with and view God, yourself, and others.
So I want to speak into husbands. So just so you know, and you probably already know this, we are not professionals in marriage, but we really feel like we have, because we've had 3 years of marriage, right? You know, but we really feel competent in the subject of relationship in general.
Not just marriage. Healthy
relationship. But here, I want to talk into husbands. Like,
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Right now, so there is often this dynamic in marriages that is sabotaging your marriage. And I want to talk to the men right now, and women, you'd probably really appreciate this. Men, we're the leaders of the house, right? This means that we serve our wives, that we are put in leadership to our wives so that we can serve and lay down our life. I heard Chris Valentin talk about this, and he said, people always highlight that women serve your husband, like women submit to your husbands, but right after it says men as Christ is to the church, you're supposed to be to your wife. What did Christ do? He gave his life for the church. So if women submit, men die. Okay, I'm being a little extreme, but that's what the example that Jesus gave. So come on, let's hear that. So all I'm saying is it's not hard to submit to a dead man. And what this looks like, though, is really hearing your wife, really validating her, really saying, like, okay, when she talks, like, listen. And I've heard this, men struggling with, like, knowing how to listen, knowing how to be an active listener, and what that looks like is there's no trick to listening other than actually engaging and listening. You're not thinking about what you want to say. You're engaging in what your wife's talking about, and you're asking follow-up questions.
And I want to even say this isn't only limited
eye
to
contact.
Marriage. This is in friendships, business relationships, siblings, parent and children relationships, really honestly in every relationship.
Yeah, making eye contact. There's no way to make people feel like you're listening and valuing them unless you're listening and valuing them, right? So not writing off what your wife says. Wives also, in this sense, like, there can be this dynamic where, stupid husband kind of dynamic where, you write off what each other say and you think you're smarter. You know, both sides do that, right? That is killing your marriage. Like, actually spending time and like admiring your spouse. Now, if there's true problems, like, don't be run over like by your husband or your wife. Don't. There's a difference between honoring, hearing, listening, and loving, and also really abuse, like verbal abuse and physical abuse. So zero of that. I'm not up for that. And you're not supposed to submit to an abusive verbally and physically husband or wife.
Yeah. Did you just want to talk about marriage in this one?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, healing relationship.
Oh. Well, relationship can be.
Right. It could be anything. You can go ahead and expound if you have something.
So my thought on this, I'm going to branch outside of marriage. This is just relationship in general because
What applies?
I made the title like how does relationship heal? And Rami alluded to this within the context of marriage, and I also want to bring it to bigger circle for us to look at in any relationship is this aspect of safety, and safety builds trust.
Right.
Like, you can't heal a relationship without trust and safety. And so that's foundational, and listening is one of the huge ways validating to building trust and safety. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to.
So think about statements that push people away, or statements that invite someone into your world. This is how safety happens. It's like we don't, without even knowing it, we use tones or words or sentences that push people away, and then we wonder why we don't have relationship closeness, why we don't have friends. And the goal of relationship is connection, not agreement. And that's another thing that people often mistake for each other. Like, just because you disagree doesn't mean that, like, you don't have to agree with someone to be their friend. What has to happen is connection to be a friend. So however that happens, we can't confuse one for the other, really.
Yeah.
Like, it hurts us if we do.
And that's in marriage too. Like,
it's in both, yeah.
Like, you don't have to agree with each other to connect.
Yeah, and a good relationship with your spouse doesn't mean that
you're on the same page.
You don't even have, like, it'd be way easier if you were. Like, you don't have to be politically or spiritually on the same page. I mean, ideally you would be, but in that case, in a case that you're not, like, a person in that situation would focus on connection rather than agreement. Yeah. And that would save your marriage.
Yeah, what are the things that would draw that person in? And even honestly, like, branching out beyond like just our everyday relationships, just in the ministry context of like how to actually bridge the gap and communicating to people like within ministry is like, because obviously whenever you're stepping out into ministry, someone's in this zone that you want to help them walk through and out of.
Yeah.
And so there are different worldviews, there's different opinions, different beliefs, and you have to be able to bridge that gap with connection. It can't be through agreement.
Yeah.
Because at the forefront you don't agree already, and logically, like, whenever you try to come at someone in a logical sense of like, you've got to agree with me, that hinders connection, because we're really ultimately relational beings at our core.
Yeah. Something else that you might want to look at if you're having problems in relationship in general, if you're having problems in a marriage, is look at the things that trigger you. Look at the places where you're becoming defensive and realize, oh wait, this isn't as important. This is like, I'm making this a bigger deal because I have baggage, and maybe I can back off of this and be more understanding in this moment than to protect my view or protect my, like, realizing moments where you're overemphasizing a thing or becoming defensive over something, like, and in that moment when you're aware of it, you can say, okay, this actually isn't as important as I'm making it, but I have feelings and baggage behind this. Maybe, like, it can really help, like, save arguments to, like, realize, oh wait, this has become something that it didn't even start as, you know. It's become something that
it's not about the problem.
It's not about the problem. It's about my problem, my childhood pain and hurt. Like, I never felt heard, and when my wife said this, then I went back to that moment where I was never allowed to speak, or I was always shut down, and so that was triggered in that moment, and then suddenly the arguments about is what I'm saying valuable, instead of like the conversation that it started about, like, the pizza's good, you know, like, it could have been this random thing, like, I love this pizza, oh, I hate it, you know, like, and then it becomes this argument about my opinion's valuable, you know, and that could be like, that is a really big deal, actually. Like, that happens so much in marriages, and it's like, you get triggered by fear that's not even about the thing that you keep on arguing about.
That's so good, Ramy.
Yeah,
that's so good. I love that. So Ramy just did a little dive into some about triggers, and we really dive into triggers in our intensive, in the Eden intensive too. That's we have a whole training devoted to that, on identifying and unraveling triggers.
If this is something that you're dealing with, this is where you're going to want to go, because we actually dive really deep into it and unpack it, and then heal the past pain. So this is going to be like,
and even if you're kind of like how do I know a trigger, or what is a trigger? Like, we have multiple trainings on just all of that, like how to identify triggers and ultimately unmet needs, and all of that, in the context of community, in the context of a support system, and it's really powerful.
Really powerful.
Really powerful.
So we're going to drop that link below. If you're saying, like, hey, I'm ready, I need this, you know, we have the link right below. You can actually click it, join our community. You can even, if you're not ready and you want more information, just go into our DMs, our personal message, and, like,
send us a message,
and we'll chat a little bit and go from there.
Oh yeah. And I was gonna say too, like, these things, like identifying triggers, creating safety in relationships so that you can even have trust, like, hearing, like, these are all things that we've had to work through, and that we help our clients work through now.
Yeah.
And it has brought so much more, like, connection in our marriage. It's brought healing to our marriage.
So much.
The first year of our marriage, we were pretty, like, we had so much fun together, but we butt heads a lot, and there was a lot of conflict.
We got in arguments,
a lot.
We don't get in arguments anymore, or they die really fast because we realize what's happening,
and we know how to work through them.
It was like we were blind to, like, what was actually happening, and then when we learned these things, like, it opened our eyes, and it's like, oh wait, we can stop this way faster.
Yeah, things that would shut us down for, like, a whole day from communication, and, like, even cause just, like, friction for, like, a whole week. Like, we can genuinely talk through within 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but we know how to do it, and we know how to do it well in a way that facilitates healing.
It gets easier and easier, actually. Like,
and that's what we're teaching our clients, and it's really powerful. It's amazing seeing them step into what's theirs, identify what's actually going on in their emotional world, and begin the healing
Right. It's really awesome. If you're on YouTube, I would suggest we have so many more trainings on relationship with God, yourself, and others. Subscribe, and we're actually adding like 2 or 3 videos a week a lot of times onto our YouTube channel, and you can get like direct access to them, just like Streamline. You can just like watch hours and hours of content like on healing relationship with yourself, God, and others. So I would recommend going over there and subscribing right now.
And if you're and like we've said it like 10 times, but like if you're like really ready for real change in your relationships and real change in the way you view yourself and you're longing for greater God connection, like the Eden Intensive is where it's at. It's where you want to come, and that's where you will see real change. That's where and we give you stuff that will help you move the needle. But yeah, we just want to invite you into that.
Yeah, let us know what you're thinking. We're really excited to chat with you, and just thank you for spending a couple minutes in our world today.
Cheers,
we love you guys. Bye.